Our next guest is a pediatrician from St. Barnabas Hospital, and she is here to share with us how to properly put your baby to sleep. We welcome Dr. Lisette Robledo. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
All right.
Hi, how are you?
Lisette. So, great conversation. I have a 15-month-old, and I feel like this is always a topic that has so many opinions. Everyone has their own method.
Absolutely. And the bottom line is, whatever you do for your family, that's what's going to work for your child. There's a recent study in the Journal of Pediatrics that prompted sort of this conversation about sleep again, that showed that no matter what method of sleep training, which is what we call it, sleep training, you use, your child will be fine at 12 months later. So when they turn a year, there's no emotional issues, because there's a lot of concerns about letting your baby cry to sleep, that they have issues with attachments, anxiety, and certainly it stresses a lot of moms and dads out and households out when a child is crying to sleep.
Yes.
You know, it's a very, very difficult thing. Every child is so different. So what works for one doesn't always work for the other. And so it's just a matter of sticking to whatever it is that works for you.
Well, what's recommended?
So most of us recommend trying to get your child to sleep regularly at 4 months. So babies up until 4 months are really waking up still overnight very frequently to eat. Babies still need to eat very frequently. By about 4 months, babies are starting to sleep for longer periods of time. So then is a good time to start to really consistently set up a routine. Babies still wake up to feed at 4 months, but it seems to be a natural time to transition to you go to bed, wake up maybe only one time to feed, and then go right back to sleep. So, you know, the strongest recommendation is start early in terms of setting up a routine for the household, and then just sticking to it. There's many different methods.
I was going to say, so there's not just one right method,
There
right?
isn't one right method, and the one right method that worked for your first child is certainly not going to work for your second child. You know, the right method for a mom who's at home, who's breastfeeding, may be very different than a mom who's formula feeding and going to work the next day. So it really is something to talk to your pediatrician about, and to really just get a sense of what's going to work for your family, your household, and everyone involved, because really putting a baby to sleep is not usually just one person.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us in New York City live in very small spaces. There's a lot of neighbors, and a lot of crying sometimes also upsets the neighbors. So that's definitely also something a lot of people take into consideration. It really is very hard to hear your baby cry. So it just depends on what's going to work for you, and there are a lot of methods out there. The key trick is starting a little bit early. A lot of people wait till 8, 9 months, and sometimes your kid has figured out that they cry, mommy's there. I got the good life. I don't really have to go to sleep because mom is here the minute I cry. And then some babies are just naturally really easy sleepers. It just depends also on your baby. Some babies you don't even have to try, and they just go to sleep on time. So yeah,
I wish that was my son. Yeah. But I'm glad you said that there's no right method. That it really depends on you and your baby. Right, because I feel like the motherhood community, sometimes they're so opinionated, and everybody's like, no, this way is right. No, this way is right. Let your baby put him or herself to sleep. No, you should lay down with your baby. So it's like so many thoughts, so many methods out there.
Yeah, and moms get a lot of mixed messages, and you know, in general, most moms are trying to do the best they can given the circumstances that they're in. You know, a working mom versus a non-working mom might have other pressures. A mom who has one baby versus 2 babies, you know, it is all really different. And so whatever, you know, system you come up with, be consistent with it, because that's the other trick to teaching a baby to go to sleep. Because if you know, after 2 days of a baby crying and it's usually not as long as one thinks. Everyone thinks it's going to last for hours. Usually by the 2nd, 3rd, 4th days, things calm down a little bit, but that's not true for every baby. Right. So, you know, you just got to stick to it, because babies are very smart. Kids are very smart. They figure out very quickly what's going to happen. And, you know, you really do set up. If you save your baby every single time they cry, if you go in there, it's, you know, and babies don't always wake up. Some babies, they stir a little bit, they'll cry for a minute, and if just left to their own devices, they'll go right back to sleep. But by then, mom, dad, sometimes an older sister, an older brother will come in the room, and all of a sudden, it's like party in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Like my favorite people are in the room with me.
Why go to bed?
So why go to sleep? Because I can sleep it off a little later.
How many hours? So we're talking like, should a baby be sleeping like from 0 to 6 months, 6 to 12? How many hours should they be getting?
So about, when they're newborns, they pretty much sleep, eat, well, with a couple other things in between, pooping, diapers and stuff like that.
Our favorite things, right?
Our favorite thing. But they sleep 12 to 20, like it almost seems like 24 hours, but they really do spend the majority of their time when they're newborns sleeping. By 2 months, 4 months, they're spending more like 12 hours sleeping. So it still is a large portion of their day.
And this is including naps. You're not just
This is including naps.
straight
This
through.
isn't a 24-hour period. 6 months old really should be able to sleep through the night. Most babies do. Most 6-month-olds, they'll go to bed at their bedtime. They wake up once, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. They get a feed and they're right back out
that
till
6 month
6.
mark, when they first sleep that through the night the first time,
It's like
that is-
heaven.
oh my gosh. I remember waking up, and I was used to waking up every 2 to 4, and I remember the first night he slept through the night. I was like, wait, is he okay?
You wake
Is
up in a
everything okay?
panic.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Absolutely.
And then at the end of the week, I was like, I'm sleeping throughout the night, and so is he. It's such a great,
It's a great feeling.
milestone.
Yeah, it's a
So
great
You
feeling.
have something to look forward to, mothers.
Yeah, it's true. And one of the things is starting to think about it a little bit earlier. Don't think about it when they're 6 months old, when they're 9 months old. Set up your bedtime routine. Make it part of your routine, even if they're still going to wake up every 2 hours, so that the baby is used to, I go to bed at this time, we get our bath, we make sure reading
Scheduling
is
is
in
very
there.
important.
Your schedule is
Yeah.
really important. And just being consistent about it and making sure that you're reading a bedtime story. I often tell parents, if they have a not too obnoxious stuffed animal or a little toy that plays a calm song that doesn't annoy anyone, you kind of put them to bed every night with that same toy, that same little song in the background, and they kind of get used to it. And so they know when that music comes on, it's
time
their
for bed.
sleep time. And eventually you kind of train them to be there. That's kind of their trigger to sleep. But consistency, as with all parenting, really is the key, and just being comfortable with what you're doing.
Is there any such thing as a baby sleeping too much?
Not generally speaking, no.
Even when once they become a year, or is it?
No, not generally. I mean,
Okay.
babies will tell you if they're tired, they will go to sleep. They'll take a little bit of a longer nap. And the newborn period, so when you first bring the baby home, you do have to wake the baby up every 2 hours to feed. So newborn babies can sleep too much because they don't have their clock set yet for waking up. But certainly, for the most part, babies do not sleep too much. Most parents complain they don't sleep enough. And they have a lot of energy from the minute they wake up in the morning to the minute they go to bed. There's no stopping them. So it's not the general complaint, is that babies sleep too much.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this information.
No
If a mother has any more questions, where can they reach you?
Our clinic is at St. Barnabas, so we're located at St. Barnabas here in the Bronx, and our general number is 718-960-9000. Or they can go to our website, which I don't know off the top of my head. I think
we
they
have
have
the
it on
number
the
there.
screen.
And I shouldn't just say mothers, fathers as well.
Yeah, it's a family
Parents,
issue.
yeah.
It's a family issue. It's moms, dads, it's grandparents sometimes. It's everyone. It's a big deal. Sleep is important to everyone, including babies and grown-ups especially.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So let's count on our getting some sleep.
I know.
Thank you so much, Lisette.
very
You're great.
welcome.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back.